Revolts, Uprisings, and Rebellions in Ottoman History. A categorical overview. The Ottoman Empire, despite its longevity, experienced numerous internal conflicts, revolts, uprisings, and rebellions throughout its history. These disturbances were significant factors in the empire's eventual decline and dissolution. These conflicts stemmed from diverse causes, which can be categorized as follows. 1. Political instability and succession issues. Early Ottoman period. Challenges to Ottoman power included resistance from Anatolian principalities and succession struggles. 2. Economic hardship and taxation. General economic issues. Economic hardship, rising inflation, and poor harvests incited unrest. Excessive taxation. High costs of living, excessive taxation, and failure of the Sultan to hold conquered lands in Persia caused the 1730 rebellion. Tax revolts. Throughout 1905 to 1908, economic crisis led to worker strikes, grain riots and tax revolts. Financial grievances in the military. Problems in the payment of janissary salaries was a cause of the 1622 uprising. 3. Military dissatisfaction. Janissary uprisings. From the mid-17th to the mid-19th century, Istanbul saw approximately 19 uprisings, some resulting in the deposition of the Sultan. These uprisings often centered on the Janissary Corps and other military groups. Janissary revolts assumed a rather constitutional character, as seen in their discourses on rights and moral economies. The 1826 revolt started as a traditional uprising but quickly turned into a massacre of the Janissaries. May Uprising, 1807. This uprising in Istanbul resulted in the deposition of Selim III. The revolt was triggered by the introduction of a new model army and the elimination of income for some Janissaries. Military decline. Military defeats exposed Ottoman weaknesses and fueled opposition to the central government. 4. Social inequalities and oppression. General social inequalities. Deep social and economic inequalities, along with the oppression of ministers, damaged the legitimacy of Ottoman rule. 5. Nationalism and independence movements. Rise of nationalism. The rise of nationalism in the Balkans and other regions spurred separatist movements. Serbian Uprising, 1804. This uprising marked the beginning of national revolutions in the Balkans and contributed to the creation of modern Serbia. Greek Revolution. The Greek War of Independence led to Greece's independence from the Ottoman Empire. Bulgarian Uprising, 1876. The Bulgarian Uprising and alleged Ottoman atrocities incited international outrage and the Russo-Ottoman War of 1877 to 1878. 6. Religious grievances and sectarian conflicts. Kizilbash rebellions. The rebellions of Kizilbash, Turkic-speaking Alavites, were often religious rebellions expressing heterodox beliefs and allegiance to the Shah rather than the Sultan. Wahhabism and Naqshbandi Sufism. These movements challenged Ottoman legitimacy in majority Muslim territories. Equality. Many Muslims objected to the equal status granted to Christians. Greek Revolt. The Greek Revolt in 1821 had religious undertones, and there were attacks on Muslims. Sectarian conflict and religious grievances intensified in the 19th century, especially in areas like Mount Lebanon, due to religious diversity, Ottoman reforms that sparked resentment and undermined traditional systems, socio-economic disparities, and external interference. These tensions resulted in violence, massacres, and instability, fueled by both long-term structural issues and immediate triggers, with conflicts among Christians further complicating the landscape. 7. Local strongmen and provincial discontent. Provincial revolts. Local strongmen and provincial notables challenged Ottoman authority in various regions. These revolts sometimes took on nationalist overtones as they spread. Mount Lebanon rebellions. There were multiple rebellions in Mount Lebanon. 8. External influence and agitation. External influence. Outside agitation, particularly from European powers, stirred up dissident elements within the empire. Balkan regions. Uprisings were sometimes inspired by enemy agitators. 9. Opposition to reforms. May Uprising, 1807. This uprising in Istanbul resulted in the deposition of Selim III. The revolt was triggered by the introduction of a new model army and the elimination of income for some janissaries. 10. Banditry and lawlessness. Banditry. Banditry and disobedience were common, especially in mountainous regions, with groups of Haydists harassing travelers and government officials. 11. Resistance from Sunni Turkoman tribes. Anatolia. In Anatolia the Turkomans resisted efforts to establish direct control and end their autonomy. 12. Linguistic factors. Cultural demands. Cultural demands on behalf of the Arabic language were linked to political demands of provincial reform. These categories demonstrate the multifaceted nature of conflict within the Ottoman Empire. Rebellions often combined elements from multiple categories, making it difficult to assign a single cause. Furthermore, the Ottoman perspective often differed from that of the rebels or external observers. Ottoman historians often viewed uprisings as acts against the state, caused by outside intervention or the rebellious nature of certain populations.